Hello and welcome to Anime Splash. I'm Neil Trotter.
I'm Ricky Morris.
Okay, so today we're gonna check out this anime. It's called Aoi Sekai no Chūshin De. That directly translates into "in the center of the blue world," or as the English term that's been used to popularize the show, World War Blue. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wrote it wrong. And so, for those of you who don't know, Anime Splash, what we do is we watch the first 3 episodes of anime, and then based off those 3 episodes, we decide whether or not we want to continue watching the whole show or just not continue watching it at all. This was interesting because there's only 2 episodes that were available to us. I couldn't find the 3rd one, so we're just going to base it off the 2. Alright, so now we're going to start off with a plot breakdown. And Ricky usually does that.
Alright, so in this anime actually portrays the console wars, like Sega versus Nintendo, as a fantasy anime. You know, you have big warring nations fighting each other, and in it you have the Nintendo Kingdom trying to take over all of the land of Consume, and you have the Seguya Kingdom that's trying to fight back, and the story centers around this one man named Gear who can actually run really fast and has blue hair, so you should know who that represents. And he decides to join the army after his friend Teal gets killed, and he's like, and the anime plays out like your standard fantasy anime. You have all these warriors, they're fighting each other. Some of them have special powers or skills and stuff like that. And he joins up with the Seguya army, and he gets trained by this mercenary that represents Tetris, and there's a couple of references in there. Characters are supposed to represent different things, but it's kind of hard to get at first. But it's an okay anime.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an okay anime. It's not spectacular. It's okay. Let me break down what I thought. So when we first read the description, a brief synopsis, and Ricky was like, "Oh wow, how did we miss this?" So, and we were reading it. It was like a console wars type of fantasy war version of the console wars. So I was thinking like, "Oh, this must be some sort of parody, like a comedy, where they're gonna do like kind of like like your average parody, where there's a lot of comedy, nothing serious." No, actually, it does have a serious point to it. There's, people get killed, and there's a lot of comedy in it too, but there's definitely a serious tone to it, and I think that is what kind of hurt it a little bit already, because you're going off the angle of, we're gonna reference the console wars, Sega versus Nintendo. If you're gonna even try to make that a serious situation, this got kind of come across as a little corny and not too deep, so it's already lost some points from me there. Really, the problem is the console war references that they have are kind of obscure, or very old school, so a lot of people are just not gonna get it. Like, the blue guy, the main character, that's a reference to Sonic, and then you got references to Tails, and then got references to very popular Sega franchises. But a lot of Sega franchises are dead now. They don't, for example, they reference a big one is Alex the Kid. Most people don't know that Alex the Kid was Sega's first mascot. Most people think like Sega's mascot is Sonic. That's the first one. No, it was this guy named Alex the Kid. Alex Kid? Alex the Kid, Alex Kid, I forgot. It's been so long, but that was before Sega Genesis came out, and then they had the Sega Master System. and that's when the Alice Kid was. They were trying to push it. It didn't work out. I guess it worked out, and I think they became big in Canada and Europe, and I guess Japan. But in America, that didn't really fly too well. So you got a lot of references to a lot of games that are just people are just not going to get. And I had a hard time getting some of the character references.
I had to look them up.
Yeah, and if you gotta look stuff up, I think you're kind of missing the point. Now I know some people would be like, well, I mean that's great, you know, it's a learning experience, and it does reward the really knowledgeable nerd person that's really into trivia about video game history. If you're like one of those kind of buffs, if you're into that, then you're definitely gonna find some real nice treasures in this one. Some real nice Easter eggs all over the place. But most people, I think, are not like that. And then another thing I kind of heard is it's a good idea to do the console parody, the console wars, making it into some sort of fantasy war type of thing. I mean, that's a good idea, but another problem is like Sega is not really part of this console wars anymore. It's kind of like as if, let's say, I guess the creators of this anime are like hardcore Sega fans, I'm thinking, and they just want to do some service to themselves. It would have been a lot better as a show, probably, if they made it more current. Like, let's say it was Nintendo versus Sony versus Microsoft, a three-way battle, and then Sega was kind of in the middle as a mercenary or something. I mean, that probably would make a lot more sense. And then more people will get the references. I don't think this show is probably going to catch on to most people. I really don't. Just because these references are so old and they're not current and they're kind of obscure. Some of the games are really obscure. A lot of them aren't, but some are.
Well, on Nintendo's side, you'll recognize everyone immediately, but just for everything else.
Okay, some people I didn't recognize. Like I remember, I recognized Link and Mario, and I think that was about it.
I think they did like Miyamoto and like some of the other developers and stuff like that.
Well,
so it's not just video game characters. It's like,
oh, I see. There you go, right there. I mean, many people don't even know or care about developers. I mean, that's good knowledge to know. I mean, that's cool. But I think you would get a lot more good audience if you just did the actual game characters. I don't know. Yeah, I think you got to be really hardcore in video game history to appreciate this one, which is going to be few and far between. Let's see. It was a good attempt. It really was. It really was a good try. So the other thing that's very interesting is apparently they release an episode every month or something like. They don't release episodes very often, because I remember I was looking online doing very vague research, and a lot of people was really angry that it comes out so infrequently. But I think that's the case, because I think the reason why that is because they probably don't make a lot of money off this show, so they gotta release it like every so often, or they probably like start losing money. It's really a service to a fan base that's very slim, very marginal, I think. A niche, but it's even a little smaller than that, because with a niche, nowadays in this day and age, you can actually make a lot of money focusing on a niche market. That's kind of like a lot of strategy nowadays. People they're not trying to appeal to the masses, they're trying to focus on, but you can't even do that with this one, because it's even smaller than a niche. It's very marginal, I think. But I'm sure many people disagree with that. So let's say, like, okay, you missed basically all the references. You got like the Mario guy, the Link guy, you got Sonic, you got the big ones, but over half the characters you don't even know where they come from. So what are you left with? You're left with a cliche, stereotypical fantasy story. That's your basic Empire versus Empire type of deal, which you've seen many times before in many situations and stories. So you're not really left with much if you don't get the references. There's not really too much meat here, and it's not even that much. I mean, the comedy I thought was not even that strong. I mean, it was okay. I'm always adverse to when they use a lot, because there's a lot of sexual comedy, Yeah, I mean that's cool, but I think Japanese anime they kind of overdo it sometimes. It gets a little annoying, I think.
Yeah, they kind of make the females just like they kind of like have like the naked silhouette type of thing. They do that for like no reason at all.
Yeah, as if they're like out of ideas or they just don't know what to do, so they just keep doing that over and over again. It's like, how many times are we gonna see? I mean, it's just after a while, it just stops being funny. And there's a lot of jokes in this show that are like that. Like, there's no original jokes.
Yeah, the Tetris guy is actually does like a lot of dirty jokes and stuff. So.
Yeah. And we've seen this type of character before, like the mentor. Teacher guy who's a pervert. I mean, there's many anime that has this kind of. I mean, Naruto is one. I mean, I'm thinking back to Inuyasha. They have a perfect example is Inuyasha has a character just like him. So you're not left with anything. It's a shame because it's a very good idea, but I think that it was just. I think they could have done more with it. If they made it current and they made the references more obvious, it probably would have been cool. But I don't know, I just didn't. It was okay. Now, at first I was saying it's okay, but now I'm convinced myself that it kind of sucks. It's actually not. Yeah, I would definitely not continue watching this. You can actually get a lot from it though if you're like really into history, video game history, or if you're into video game trivia, you can. There's a lot of nice things and bonuses, and you're gonna love it. But other than that, like I know a lot of people who are into anime, they don't know a damn thing about video game history at all. So they're gonna miss a lot of this, and it really is a shame because it's a very good idea. Oh well. You have anything?
No, I'm gonna pass on this one too.
Okay. Oh well. But if you disagree, and if you're like, hey, whoa, what's going on? This is brilliant. This is great. I wish more shows would do this type of thing. And it doesn't have to be so obvious. That's the beauty of it. And you could do that in the comments. Let us know your opinion. Tell me how stupid I am, how my idea sucks. That's fine. I mean, don't go overboard because I'm just not even going to respond. I will laugh at it though. But if you give me some feedback, so give us some constructive feedback and tell us maybe why you like this show, or maybe you agree with us. That's cool. We love checking out comments and having a debate or a discussion. That's always cool. So you can always do that on our YouTube channel. We also have Facebook and that's it. Oh, Twitter, but I mean that's more for our other stuff. So the Facebook is good. If you can like us there, that would be great. But yeah, this is the World War Blue, and that's what we thought about it. So check us out on the next episode of Anime Splash.